So the Rose Basketball Club have played in 2 games, and it's not looking good for Lexie Hull.
Imagine this. A star player who was traded to high hopes is now warming the bench for just 90 seconds per game. When Caitlin Clark learned of Lexie Hull's current situation with the Rose Basketball Club, her reaction was nothing short of explosive. Here's what happened. Lexie Hull's current situation with the Rose Basketball Club...
Not looking good for Lexie Hull. Like, I don't know. Imagine going from Christy Sides coaching, where she doesn't really want to play you, and no matter what you do on the court, it doesn't matter because your coach doesn't want to play you, and then eventually your coach figures it out and starts you and plays you 30 minutes a game and your team gets better. I think Lexie Hull is going through something like that right now with the Rose Basketball Club, because Lexie Hull has played in 2 games. She has played about 8 minutes combined. Not only that, she's been good.
Has sparked outrage, especially from WNBA sensation Caitlin Clark. And believe me, this story has more layers than an onion. Let's set the scene in Section 2. The 2 games that the Rose Basketball Club has played so far have been nothing short of a nightmare for Lexie Hull. We're talking about exactly 8 minutes of playing time over the course of both games, but the worst part is that it's not because she's playing badly. Rather, she's been solid in the little time she's had on the court. It's like owning a Ferrari and keeping it in the garage. Now you might be wondering what the real story
isn't that Lexie Hull has been garbage. Lexie Hull has played well. That's the weirdest thing, is that she's actually played well. There is one issue with Lexie Hull, which is why I think she's not playing, but I think she has actually played well.
Think about is a classic example of a square peg in a round hole, that is. Hull's problems start when players are forced to create their own shots because the Rose's style is based on 2 shot-creating guards taking turns to make plays. It's like being the only vegetarian at a steakhouse. You might be excellent at what you do, but you're in the wrong place. In point 3, consider the Rose's current roster. Chelsea Gray is essentially a ball magician, occasionally making passes that leave you wondering if she's attempting to pass or just freestyling. Additionally present are Brittany Sykes.
Roster with Lexie are Chelsea Gray, Brittany Sykes, Kalia Copper, Angel Reese, and Azure Stevens.
And Kat Copper, both of whom are capable of producing original shots akin to artists painting on a blank canvas. The main responsibilities of Air Stevens and Angel Reese are to roll and seal in pick-and-roll scenarios. It's a highly specialized system, similar to a well-maintained machine, where each component serves a unique function. Let's examine what transpired during their most recent match. Chelsea Gray had 3 turnovers and 6 assists, but some of you, those behind-the-back moves were so crazy that even her teammates were taken aback. It's like watching a jazz musician. You never know if the next note is improvised or intentional. The team only attempted 10 3-pointers in total, which is like attending a party.
Team lost both games, and Lexie Hull did not get much of an opportunity to play at all.
And hardly touching the snack table. The frustration is even greater when you consider Hull's journey. She came from a situation with Christy Sid's coaching where she had to prove herself day in and day out. Eventually, she earned her stripes and was playing 30 minutes per game, helping her team get better. But now she hardly gets enough court time to break a sweat. It's similar like earning your driver's license at last and then having your automobile seized in 5 minutes. The way the Row executes their offense, I mean everything goes through their high pick and roll system, whether it begins with a cut, a handoff, or another action, is quite intriguing. It all leads to the same area, a high screen, and a player attempting to reach the hoop for Hull, who feels more at ease playing lockdown defense and spotting up for 3. It's like being expected to speak a foreign language without any instruction. It's becoming increasingly clear that the transaction that led Hull to the Rose was a mistake. The Kate Martin for Lexie Hull swap. Many experts are now saying Hull would have been better off with the LA team. Why? Because their style of play would have complemented her strengths better. It's like trading a surfer to a ski team. Sure, they're both athletes, but the skills don't quite translate. Let's talk about what Hull actually brings to the table. She's a 3-and-D specialist, which in most modern basketball teams is like having a golden ticket. She can knock down open threes and play tough defense in her limited minutes. She's shown exactly that she came. In full court press, the opposing team's best guard did a solid job, didn't turn the ball over, and even hit a 3. But in the Roses system, that's like having a great parallel parking skill in a town with only pull-through spots, the contrast. In playing styles becomes even more apparent when you look at other teams. Take the Mist, for example. Their whole game plan is about quick passing, and shooting as much as possible. It's basketball at its most exciting pass. Pass, pass, shoot. Put Hull on that team and she'd probably thrive like a fish that has finally been returned to the water. But the Row is all about the half-court offense that grinds it out possession by possession. This has left Hull in a real bind. She's basically stuck in a bind. Difficult situation. She is earning a respectable salary of between $150,000 and $250,000 and is able to play on a professional team, but she isn't given the chance to show off her abilities or improve. It's like getting paid to be a backup singer without ever holding the microphone. For someone with Hull's skill set, the Roses' offensive strategy is especially difficult because when they do shoot threes, which isn't often, they're almost always off screens with players pulling up. It's like having a great three-point shooter but running an offense from the 1990s. What's even more intriguing about this situation is the team's overall offensive strategy. In their most recent game, they actually shot 9 fewer shots than their opponents, despite having numerous offensive rebounds. This isn't a coincidence, it's a calculated approach. Choice wants to set the pace and isn't interested in engaging in a gun duel with anyone. For a guy like Hull, who may flourish in a more fast-paced, shooting-friendly system, working the ball inside and winning in the trenches is like being a speedboat in a canal. Where things become so ironic is at the defensive end. When given the opportunity, Hull is demonstrating that she can defend well, even against elite opponents. However, in the Roses system, being a good defender alone is insufficient. You also need to be able to create your own shot. This is similar to being a great goalkeeper but also having to score goals, which leads us to an intriguing point regarding player development and team building. The Row obviously has a system in place and is following it, but when should a team think about changing their approach to utilize all of their talent, or is it up to the players to adjust? These are issues that coaches and general managers frequently face, but it is uncommon to witness such a glaring example of this conundrum occurring in real time. The response that Caitlin Clark gave to this entire circumstance was what truly got folks talking. As someone who has transformed college basketball with her own distinct playing style, Clark couldn't contain her annoyance when she witnessed how Hull was being used, or rather, not used. Clark is more knowledgeable than most. The value of being part of a system that makes the most of your strengths. The thing about professional basketball that is frequently disregarded is how important team fit is. You can be a fantastic player, but if you're in the wrong system, it's like trying to run underwater. This is exactly what we're seeing with Hull right now. She has the skills that are undeniable, especially during that critical 15-game stretch after the Olympics when she truly found her rhythm. Speaking of the fever, let's talk about Hull's time there. She was suffering from